دكتور محمد كيفك؟ دكتور محمد.
هلا دكتور، هلا فيك، الله يعطيك ألف عافية.
إن شاء الله كويس، شو أخبارك؟
والله الحمد لله تمام بألف خير.
الله يسلمك، والله يا هلا بيك، يا مرحبا.
هلا دكتور، هلا بيك.
السلام عليكم دكتور محمد.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
دكتور عادل كيفك؟ السلام عليكم. دكتور عادل سامعني؟ دكتور
عليكم السلام.
دكتور عادل وصل
دكتور
صوتي
فضيلة.
فضيلة ستيل كونكتنج.
صباح الخير.
هلا دكتورة، يا
صباح الخير.
أهلا، صباح النور.
يا مرحبا، حيا الله.
دكتور خالد شلونك؟
الله يبارك فيكي بخير، بدنا اياكم بخير ان شاء الله تكونوا يا رب.
دائما منحاسين لك لانك انت 3/4 كويتي طبعا.
الله يحفظك، الي الشرف والله. دكتور
احنا طلعنا برانيين معناته.
لا مو برانيين، انا راسي دكتور.
لا يا دكتور،
بس الاهل دائما ويا بعض يعني.
الله يسعدك، الله يسلمك.
انت على عيني وعراسنا دكتور، انت اول واحد طبعا.
استغفر الله، انت اخت عزيزه، الله يسلمك ويسعدك.
طبعا انت مو بعيد عن الكويت، بس انت لانك انت تعرف الناس الكبار، ما تعرف اللي مثلنا صغار.
استغفر الله استغفر الله استغفر الله، الله يسعدك.
انت قويه بالكويت دكتور، ها بعد ما حد يقدر يتحكى.
خيرة الخيرة والله يا دكتور، الله يسعدك.
الله يسلمك.
على وين
الدكتور والله محبوب الجميع.
لا الدكتور ما يعرف،
محبوب الجميع.
الدكتور يعرف علي الغانم، يعرف الامير، ما يعرفنا احنا، دخل بالك يعني.
استغفر الله استغفر الله استغفر الله، الله يرضى عليك ويسلمك.
دكتور
عادل سامعنا؟
السلام عليكم.
هلا دكتور عادل، يا مرحبا، يا حي الله.
الحمد لله.
الله يبارك فيك. لا ما شاء الله تمام.
مرحبا دكتور فضيلة، اخبارك؟
اهلا دكتور، حياك الله. اهلا يا هلا فيك دكتور.
الحمد لله،
حياك الله. يعني نايس.
ابو ليلى،
تمام عادل، الله يبارك فيك. الحمد لله، مشتاقين لك والله دكتور.
بالأكثر والله فعلكم ان شاء الله كويسين. الله يسلمكم.
الله يحفظك
جميعا ان شاء الله. دكتور محمد.
هلا دكتور عادل، الله يعطيك العافية.
الدكتور محمد غريبة.
محمد غريبك، احوالك، صحتك؟
والله الحمد لله تمام، طمنا عنك دكتور عادل.
العافية الحمد لله.
معنا الدكتورة سوسن.
دكتورة سوسن
من إيكاردا.
كمال الدين. سوسن حسن. دكتورة سوسن حسن.
السلام عليكم.
عليكم السلام دكتورة، صحتك؟
كيف الأحوال؟ إن شاء الله بخير. كيفك دكتور رضا؟ كيف الأحوال؟
بعدين شايف الصورة اللي وراها صورة الكاكتس يعني. ما شاء الله عليك.
تمام.
الله يخليك.
في زميل من ايفون بس ما اعرفش مين الاسم.
الاسم مش مكتوب نعم في الايفون. نعم.
دكتور بسام من العراق. السلام عليكم دكتور.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
كيف الأحوال؟ إن شاء الله بخير.
مرحب. مرحبا من العراق.
يا مرحبا، شرفنا بكم دكتور إن شاء الله.
الله يقدرك، شرف الله يقدرك.
شكرا جزيلا.
8 دكتور بسام. اوكي 1 2 3 8. We have to wait for maybe 2 to 3 minutes.
دكتور خلدون الصانع من المركز الوطني. دكتور خلدون.
مرحبا دكتور خلدون. دكتور خلدون مرحبا.
دكتور خلدون is muted still.
اوكي.
دكتور
تلابي.
السلام عليكم
good morning,
جميعا.
Dr. Ida.
How are you?
والسلام ورحمة الله.
الله يا مرحبا.
دكتور خلدون.
أسعد الله صباحكم. Good morning all.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning دكتور طلابي.
Good morning, Dr. Ida. Good morning, everyone.
محمد العجلوني معنا أيضا.
Yes, دكتور عجلوني is there. صباح الخيرات.
صباح الخير يا دكتور. صباح الخير يا دكتور.
صباح النور. هلا
مرحبا دكتور عجلوني.
هلا دكتور عادل. صباح الخير.
بارك الحمد لله. صباح النور. الحمد لله.
كيفك ابو مروان؟ ان شاء الله كويس.
هلا حبيبي ابو فيصل. هلا
11.
In fact, it's of my pleasure to attend this meeting.
You are most welcome.
Thanks you. Thanks.
It's your first time?
Yeah, this is my first time in the technical committee. Yes.
You are welcome. Most welcome.
And before I attended a meeting of the community of practice.
Okay. Good.
I'm working in NARC along with Dr. Khalid Abu Leila.
My great pleasure, Abu Laith.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Khalid.
You are most welcome.
Very Dr. Lawati. Ali Lawati not yet joined us.
ابعثي للدكتور علي وبعته على الواتساب مسج.
حكى لي راح يتأخر شوي دكتور.
تأخر شوية؟ Okay. Then I think we can start. You are welcome all to this meeting. In fact, it's a continuation of our previous meeting on community of practices, composition framework, or the entry point or the key element that will guide the process of the development of the plan of action for Forgotten Food. In fact, it is our fourth meeting as a series of meetings on the same, more or less the same topic. And I think we did a good job regarding the composition of the community of practice. We have a good list. We agree that we have the governance or the steering part, which include all the members of the community of practice, all the stakeholders, as well as the experts on the subject matter. And I think we have to know about the progress regarding the list and nomination of the stakeholders, and as well as the technical committee. We are still expecting to have more participation or more nominations regarding the stakeholders, as well as the technical parts. And maybe Dr. Rida will enlighten us on this progress. I see some emails, one from Dr. Talabi, also Dr. Fadila mentioned some in the previous meeting. We're expected to hear from Oman, especially Dr. Salim. I don't know, he might not be with us today. Maybe Ali Lawati will inform us. The second agenda is that we agree that we have to draft a kind of spreadsheet for the inventory, including all the necessary information we want to be included in regarding the inventory, and as well as a questionnaire, in order to collect the knowledge with the local communities or indigenous peoples or elders in this area, especially in the areas of the which include the wide or semi-wide part of the forgotten thoughts, because most of these information are with the people, the local communities, for the indigenous or elder people. So we have two things: one, the spreadsheet or the inventory, and the second one is the questionnaire. You see, that we agree that to be standard one that we can distribute to all member countries so that they can fill it. You see, send us back so we can synthesize the regional inventory, as well as at the same time we would like to ask all to you see to all member countries to prepare a report on the status of the conservation, collection, characterization of the neglected and underdeveloped species in their respective member countries. You see, as well as this should be come together with the inventory and the questionnaire. So I see Dr. Khalid is preparing. There's a kind of, you see, a country report. You see, that can be an example to be followed. So the first agenda is to know the progress regarding the stakeholders and the technical part. The second one is to see I don't know, maybe there's already a draft prepared by Dr. Ali Lawati regarding the spreadsheet or the inventory, or also the questionnaire regarding the for collection of data from the local communities, the elders, before which we expect to be prepared by Dr. Khalid. We just want to know if you have something to present, or still we're working on that. We want to know the progress on this, the inventory spreadsheet and the questionnaire, you see, and if there is any other business regarding, you see, maybe the entry points or any other business, you see. So we can start with Dr. Rida regarding the progress for the nomination of the stakeholders as well as the technical committee. So we'd like to know the progress. So we would like to see to have some see more or less finalized, you see, list for the stakeholders and the community and the technical committee to be submitted to the organizers maybe next week, you see. So Dr. Rida.
Yes, for the technical committee, Dr. Adil, I think now you have the names and all the people who are participating in the technical committee. For the steering committee, we have sent emails to different colleagues who actually they helped us, Dr. Ali, Dr. Talabi, and Dr. Khalid Abu Layla, and we are getting names from different places. So now we have about 57 names from different institutions, government, NGOs, etc., women associations. But we are keep on sending emails, and at the same time, we are still getting responses. So today we can send you the Excel sheet, which we have the names, which we have already received. But still we are working on that, and we are communicating with everybody in order to get more names and the stakeholders who could really benefit from this whole work together. So that's the case now.
Regarding the both the stakeholder part and the technical part, okay.
For the technical committee, I think now we have the names almost from different places, and we have really good number of experts.
Okay.
Yes, but for the stakeholders, still the number is growing, because we are receiving emails and names and nominations from different places. So Dr. Talabi helped us, Dr. Ali helped us, Dr. Khalid helped us in some names, and now also we are getting responses, Dr. Fadila and everybody, to get names from different places. And we are getting in contact with NGOs, with women associations, in order to get more people involved with the stakeholders.
Okay, good.
So, and also our colleagues in the technical committee, if somebody could also help, we can send you the Excel sheet, and they can nominate people, or they can advise us whom to contact in order to get more people. Because, you know, to get to the women associations, to get to those people, it's not an easy unless people they know whom we can contact or give us the email or the phone number so we can communicate with the people. Mm-hmm.
So as Dr. said, we would like to ask the help of all, you see, in this process of nomination for the seating part and government part, as well as the technical committee. You see, everyone is welcome, as I said, organization as well as at the individual level. You see, all who are is interested is welcome, you see, to this community of practice. So I think we are doing good progress regarding the technical committee and also regarding the stakeholder part. So the number is growing. That's good, you see. So yeah, this you see it's open. You see, at any time you see we can include while we are progressing. You see, even before this, the community of I mean the meeting of for the that will be organized by the I mean GFAR for the development of the plan of action. You see, even at that time, if any, we are welcoming. You see, nomination. Even after that, when we are coming to the development of our regional, you see, plan of action. You see, or we are welcome. You see, so it's open. You see this, especially the steering of the stakeholder parties open. You see, we are welcoming all. You see, who is interested to contribute is welcome. So I think for this agenda number 1 is we are doing good progress. You see, and so we are looking for your help, all everyone who can help us. You see, in the nomination, yes, is welcome. You see. So then we can shift to the second agenda regarding the inventory. I don't know if Dr. Ali Alawad, you are welcome, Dr. Ali.
Yes, thank you. Thank you,
yeah.
Professor Adel. Thank you very much.
You are welcome to the meeting. So we just finished with the first part. You see, we said that we are doing good progress regarding the nomination for the stakeholders for the community of practice, as well as the technical committee. And I said this is open. You see, we are at any time are welcome. You see, even see at the global plan of action meeting, even after that we are welcome when we see developing our regional plan of action on forgotten food. So it's open. I think it's dynamic. So we move to the next agenda. That is two parts. One is concerned with the inventory spreadsheet.
Yeah.
You said work on that, prepared by Dr. Khalid Abu Layla. So the floor is yours, Dr. Ali. Yeah.
Okay. I will share just a while. What I call it next sheet with you, but then you know, in forgotten food or neglected food or species is called Crop for Future, CFF. This CFF were with us, in fact, in the meeting that collect all of us from Africa, Asia, and NINA. They do have, in fact, a good program, and they're, in fact, their president, Professor, I think his name, Professor Saeed. I think he is from originally from India or Pakistan, but he has a British nationality. He's from Birmingham. I mean, he was academic in Birmingham University, but now he's settled in Malaysia. Mawarid, the center that where I work with, has some collaboration with them. But unfortunately, we didn't proceed with them about the forgotten food or underutilized species. Now I will show some database that in fact was done by myself and also a collaboration with my colleagues from Mawarid. Let me show you I will share with you the screen. So I am open here to share screen, yeah. So I think you are seeing this screen.
Yeah.
Crops or plants were used. Some of them they grow them in small corners, and some of them, I think most of them are harvested from the wild. So these about list of almost like 70, almost 75, 77 species.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have this classification like what the vernacular name in Arabic or usual in Arabic or in their language, and also what the name, other name like common name in English. This is common name, and this is the what they call the scientific name of the plant, and then we have the family, the genus, the species, the authority of the name, and then we say which part of the plant is eaten by which part. So for example, here, this plant is flower and leaves were eaten. And we also had some, we add some description. For example, here we are saying young leaves, raw or cooked, sweet, and mucilaginous flower buds, raw or cooked. How this is how we eat these plants and how they are, they have it in their food system. Just a second. And so on, whatever information that we can get, we list it down from different literature. And so we list all these species that you are saying here in the Excel sheet, and then we are describing how they are eaten. For example, this leaf young stem of what they call it, Coropigia bulbosa. It has no, in fact, name, but it was informed that some literature that this is eaten by here in Oman. So the leaves, young stem, roots are cooked. This is how they consume it. And so this is, you can see a list of the species that is that is used. Even, for example, we have this Euphorbia balsamifera is eaten, in fact. So young shoot is eaten, which is really, some colleagues, they said, how come Euphorbia? But this is how we saw. And there is another Euphorbia subspecies, Adenensis, like from Aden. Young leaves and fruits are eaten, but seeds are eaten. And sometimes, and whenever we found who cited this one, so for example, this one was cited, the species, Dacrosia Anithilofolia by author, an Omani author called, his family name is Al-Fatisi. And so we list all this, the authority or the author or the publication where were mentioned by them. So this is what we did. In fact, this a project, but I am now updating whatever information I got from any species, then I really updated in my list. So it might be it's increasing day by day, but now this is I have like about 75, 76 species that were mentioned in Oman, were eaten as food, mostly as a wild, but some of them they grow it in a small part of their farm. So this is what I do have for now. I mean, if you do have any question, comments, please go ahead and ask me.
Thank you, Dr. Ali. Thank you very much for your the sheet you are already prepared. I think it's a rich sheet, but I think still we have to think about maybe others. You see, other columns to be added. You see. So the floor is open. Yeah, for all.
Yes.
Dr. Khalid.
Thank you, Dr. Ali. Always impressive, and thank you for the list you shared. I wonder if any species. I assume, or I think, most of what you shared in the list are wild edible species, and none of them is already a crop or domesticated crops. Am I right?
Yeah, and some of them they grow it, and you know they have the seeds or the buds or the roots, and they grow it in a small corner of the farm. So some of them, yes, they do. Some of them, yes, I agree with you. I believe a lot of them are really harvested from the wild, but you can see also there is description how they eat it. Not only raw, they also eat it.
Yeah.
Could eat it as cooked.
Yes. Apparently, it's really is a struggling issue finding the for me preparing something parallel on the wild was kind of possible that I've done, but the issue that is facing me now is collecting historical, let's say, historical data about what used to be prevailing as per crops, domesticated crops. This is an issue. And I'm trying now to investigate the literature, which is really not too much regarding the crops that used to be dominating our area. Did you have any caliber here to nominate the species? I mean, for example, if a species heavily used, I would for sure enlist it here. But we have in Jordan so many species that are rarely used or used on occasional basis that I avoided enlisting or including in my list. So what is your comment in this regard? Was there a parameter?
Yeah, I think I want to. Is it possible to stop the sharing because I'm not able?
Yes, okay, it's okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. So, yeah. I mean, as Dr. Khalid, as I understand from your question, you want from me to give you an example from this list that used as growing or as domesticated, or you may ask yes. Go ahead. Yes.
I want to reach to a compromise for us in order to collaborate or to organize our work, to agree on certain points. Like, for example, if some species is eaten on occasional basis or just harvested when someone passing the forest on occasional basis, or we should this be mentioned, or we should focus on things that are really in use, intensively used?
Doctor, I agree with your comments or feedback or question. In fact, you know, when you listen to this pupil, they said, look, before I mean, يعني before 70, like 1970, 50 years from now, we don't have vegetables. We eat these vegetables, and because there was no, I mean, there was no problem of rainfall. There is a good rain, and these plants really are growing, yani naturally. And so they harvest it from the field. Some of them they take it to the farmers and grow it, but because, you know, yani because of these plants are yani replaced with other vegetables, like cucumber vegetable, I mean, tomato, lettuce. This is the salad vegetables. And really they forget it. This is what happened, yani this is what happened. Since they do have yani, vegetables that is available in front of them, coming from the market, so they just neglected. And that's why we say neglected. They neglected. And whenever they pass or they remember they have one dish of salad, like we have one species I mentioned, they make tabbouleh from it, but they call it Omani tabbouleh. Instead of baqdones, they use that leaves. So this is, but on the other hand, these species, I mean, compared with the commercial vegetable species that we grow it or we import it from countries like Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, this species has different other qualities. They are resilient to the climate change. They can survive and they can produce even with less temperature, with high temperature, with less rainfall. This species, I may say, might be more than 95% of this species has medical values. I mean, of course, I mean, our vegetables that we eat it normally has vegetable values, but this has also vegetable medical values that might be super plus the one that we are eating. Anti-diabetic, anti-cancer. So this has properties I think we should also rely on. I mean, they ask me, I mean, some people were interested on this subject. Doctor, if you give us what kind of medicinal values these plants have, we will consider, I mean, to grow it and to see more about it. So they need this advocate of these species. What kind of properties they do have, besides it was harvested and taken for human consumption. They need this information. And a lot of this information, for example, might be not published in Oman, but published in Pakistan, Iran, India. I will let him look because these are our neighbor countries, Saudi Arabia as well. These are neighbor countries, and most of these pieces we are sharing with them. And look, I told them, look, this is the values, this is how it's look like, and they will be happy to listen that besides this is forgotten food, it has medical value, and it was in fact mentioned in our manifesto. Yeah, so I mean, this is my response to your question, Dr. Khalid. Yes, I think Professor Rida, he has some comments. Might be also Dr.
Yeah, we have many raised hand. Dr. Rida, then Dr. Rajloni, then
Thank
Dr.
you, Ali. Thank you.
Muhammad, then Sausan. Yeah. Okay.
Shukran, Afwan, Dr. Khalid. Yes, Dr.
We'll come to that later. Yeah. Okay, Dr. Rida.
Thank you. Actually, my comment is I think Dr. Khalid and Dr. Ali, they might work together in order to get one format for the inventory. So in this case, if we have a focal person from every country and from every place, then we can collect the same data. So by the end, it will make it easy for us to make the inventory. So please, I think if you both communicate in order to get, and also if there are some other columns for some other data to be added to the inventory, then you might indicate them if it's available, the data, or if it's not available, they can add it. So that would make it easy for us. The other thing, I think we need now a possible way for our work in order to really find who is the focal person in every country for the inventory, who would help us a lot in, first of all, if he has the data, then he can communicate with other people in order to get the other data, or if there is any missing data, he would get it. Like now, Dr. Khalid Abu Layla in Jordan, he has started making this. Dr. Ali, you made this in Oman, but also Dr. Khalid could communicate with other people to see if there is something else or there might be something to be added in order to make sure that we have made the best inventory at this stage. So please, if we can really discuss this point in how really we can reach the maximum data for the inventory from every country. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Rida, for your suggestions. Dr. Aylouni.
Doctor, you are muted. Dr. Mohammed.
Okay. Okay, now it's okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning for everybody. I have two small comments. First of all, when we talk about inventory or list of plant species that are underutilized or forgotten, we have to think of all the species, not putting any caliber or putting any criteria if this is heavily used or not, because you are listing the species. Now, when we go to investment and income generating projects, we have to think of these things. So I think the inventory or the list should include everything. The other point that the other question that I want to tell Ali, you know, Ali, there is a lot of species which has been heavily used or cultivated on the local communities on certain levels. Some of them may be heavily cultivated or sometimes in the home garden. These plant species should have priority because the people still has passion on these, you know, plants, and it can be used for the income generating projects in the future. So this has to be has special treatment. The other points that I have to say that all the inventories should include as much as possible of the indigenous knowledge, as I see in the last column that Ali is just mentioned. But if we can get more and more data, because the questions that Ali received from the people about the medical use, it is documented in the minds of the old people, which we call it local knowledge, which is very important. If we can document this knowledge, this will help us in many things. Okay?
Yeah.
So thank you. I will stop in this now in this comment.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Aylouni. See, I agree with you that the list should include all, see. But what is, I think it's better to mention if it is in the uses column, if it's eaten on regular or occasional basis, it's very important. This will help us later, see, while we are developing maybe the concept notes or the plan of action. And we have to see also the country priority, see. Some countries maybe see this is priority. So it's open, you see. We have to have all the information. The list should include all and every information about this forgotten first. Dr. Muhammad Al-Ghuraiba.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So I need just clarification about the mission of our committee. Is just only to documentation of all existing species. And here we are not talking about only plant species. There's also fauna species that can be candidate as a food. So we are needed only to list all species, or just we need to focus on a success story how we can domesticate one of the wildest species and to be introduced or enter the market as a new crop?
Yeah, at the beginning, we just will have to list all. This is as inventory, you see. Then at later stage, we can talk about priorities, we see. We can talk about maybe this semi-domestication and domestication or and wild elements. But at this stage, we'd like to have this list, you see, including the country priority, from which we would like to synthesize the regional, you see, inventory sheet that for the NENA region, you see. This will be our contribution to the global part, which is concerning with the main objective that we would like to be ready, you see. I believe that the other, you see, regional are not at this stage, but we would like to be ahead of time, you see. So when we finish with the plan of work, at that time we'll be ready, you see. We have this, our inventory, we decided our, you see, country priorities, you see. Then we can just go with the, you see, writing the concept notes and then the project, see. This is not I mean, what we are doing now is we are doing ahead of time. See, what is what the organizers is asking us now to provide is to have, you see, the community of practice, the steering and the governance part, and the technical committee, and the entry points or the key element of our priorities. You see, this is what is needed from us now. But we would like to be ahead of time to prepare ourselves. So when we finish with the plan of action, we will be ready, you see, to write our concept notes and, you see, to develop our project. But because there are many, you see, development partners are waiting for, and scientists are waiting for that. So we'd like to have the list of all species. You see, every available information about this forgotten species, every available information, you see, so that we can use to prepare our regional report, you see. We would like to be, you see, ahead of time, you see. That's the main objective at this time. Then at later stage, when we are moving to the concept note, then we are talking about the priorities, we see our priorities regarding concept note, and maybe at that time we can talk about countries with maybe more or less similarities. We see we can develop joint projects with concept notes for some countries. We see which have common similarities. We see. So this is the main of, you see, the idea of talking about the inventory now. In the meantime.
Okay, so we need to have the list from each country and to compile them as a final list. It will be a very long list of species that are candidate to be like a But if we added like one common in this spreadsheet, for example, about the commercial potential, and give the scale from 1 to 5, this will help us later to identify our priorities.
Yeah, you are right. That's what's the objective. That was, I said, we want every possible information about this forgotten foods. You see, it could be included in the column of this list. Every available information. Yeah, the scale is okay. You see, it's good. For example, talking about some species that is eating on occasional basis, maybe you can give them score. You see, then those which eat regularly, you can give. Another score. Those with both medication and nutrition value can be given score. You see, yes, okay, that's welcome. You see, using a scale for prioritization.
So this is not the final parameters that you will classify the
plant. No, this is the final. Just this is a draft. Now we are discussing. This is a draft. You see, yeah, the list is, you see, it's open. You see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I see. So thank you.
Okay. Okay. And Dr. Sousan? Dr. Sousan?
Yes, thank you, Doctor. It's really nice and very useful discussion. But what I would advise to make our life easier, why don't we have some categories? Why don't we agree on categorizing this species? If we are going to the same way that you are suggesting, we will have a big list and it will be confusing for the people. What I would advise to have categories like, okay, plant or species that it used to be as crops or it used to be cultivated in a large area. Some of them, they were used for the human consumption, but now they are forgotten. They transfer them to the feed only. For example, barley. I recall people long time ago, they used to eat barley, but now it is only for the feed in the Middle East area and these countries. So what I would advise to have this list depending on the categories, crops, for example, natural plant or rangeland plants that it might have some benefits like using it as a food like salad or medicinal use. The other category is like the herbs. This will make life easier and will make it easier for the people to know what kind of crops or species that they will pick up for future utilization or future dissemination. This is number one. Number two, what I would advise is to look at the whole benefit of the plant and the special use of the possible use of it in the future, and how much it will be possible for the people to adapt it. And look to the things that people they forgot and they in the past they used to use it for it, and now because they have another alternative, for example, the way that they are exporting species from outside, they forgot about this species. So we need to look at this specification in order to enhance it and to make it possible for the people to adapt it again and to use it for their future food. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sosan. I think it's very, very good suggestion, you see. Very important this will make it easy for to see synthesizing or even developing, you see, any report or concept note about this forgotten, which yes, very good suggestion, you see. We have to categorize them, you see. The cultivated, the semi-domesticated, and the wild part. You see. Part of the uses also. Yeah, very good suggestions. Dr. Khaldoon.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Dr. Adel. I would like to thank both Dr. Khalid and Dr. Ali for their efforts in preparation of the inventory list in their countries. Yes, I agree that we have to contact the focal points in neighboring countries in order to collect and compile their list of inventories, because it's so important, as you said previously, to make one compiled and final list for inventories in all the Near East and North Africa countries. Besides, I would like to suggest the addition of publication column to the inventory list, so that we have to collect different publications done on different plant species of the inventory list stated and mentioned in the tables, so that we can collect a lot of information about that species in different parts in our area. And thank you so much again.
Thank you, Dr. Khaldoon. Dr. Talabi? Dr. Talabi?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Hello?
The floor is yours, yeah.
Yes, sorry, please. Yeah, so thank you very much, everyone. I really appreciate the list presented by Dr. Ali Al-Lawati. It was very exhaustive, but I had this concern also. I wanted to ask, because I know that when we are actually selecting these underutilized crops, maybe as an institution or a research organization, so to say, there are some criteria that we actually use in making the selections. I don't know if that was respected, or I just want to ask so that I will be properly guided. I used to know of this FAO Regional Office for Asia and Pacific Initiative for Zero Hunger. And then I think they had like these 4 criteria that they were using to select the future food crops, which included this high nutritional profile, climate resilience, local availability, and then the economic viability of the crop. So I really don't know if we already have such a criteria that we are using, or because basically if from the perspective of a research organization now, we might not want to go into all the species that exist. We might really want to prioritize on some that really we could push to the farmers, and then we could be able to assess the impact on their economic and then their livelihood and all that. So I would want clarifications on that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Talabi, for your comment. In fact, so in fact, my criteria was in fact very general. Not as you mentioned that some organizations, they do have criteria, and even my colleagues here in this discussion, they said we should have other criteria. My criteria for this list is just whatever mentioned in literature or traditional knowledge, that these species were used as food, either collected from wild or grown in the farm, but not much, and it's not an extensive way like barley or wheat. Then I consider them, these are forgotten food or neglected food. Of course, I mean, the criteria that you mentioned by FAO, different offices could be more appropriate for us to use. And for example, from the list that I provided, might be from 72 species or 75, I will have only 10%, might be 7, 8 species that will be within the frame or criteria that mentioned internationally. So of course, I mean, this is open to discussion. I mean, of course, we cannot work with this list all, but we can, of course, at least document them. And this is that were used as food, wildly, or some of them they were grown previously, but not anymore. So, I mean, these criteria could be, as discussed, could be here, could be in our document or in our concept note. But of course, we are going to focus on particular species. Might be region by region or even country by country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ali.
Okay, I think the point which were mentioned by Dr. Talabi, yes, we are talking many times about the importance to be part of this inventory, the climate resilience, even not the economic and the cultural or social values. These are very, very important, you see. I think there's a room to include them, in this spreadsheet, you see. Yeah, because of this stage, we are looking, we are tending to gather as many information as we can, you see. And later, at later stage, then when we come to prioritization and priority setting, then we can see, I don't know, we cannot do anything at the same time, you see. We are talking about many, we have to talk about phases. For example, inventory is very important. Without inventory, we cannot move any step forward. You see, the inventory is very important. That's why we, at this stage, we would like to have all the information, you see. As Dr. Sousan said, we have to, these two have to be in categories. This will ease our life, will ease our job, you see. It's very important to be in categories, you see, this should be very well articulated in this spreadsheet, you see. And the spreadsheet is open, you see. Even we can, at the end we can put, you see, remarks or anything that we didn't, you see, mention in this in the spreadsheet. So this says, you see, as I said, we would like to have as much as information from the regarding the inventory, forgotten food, inventory of forgotten food, because this is our start. Without it, we cannot move any step forward. So I think Dr. Ali, you're raising your hand.
Yes. I mean, Dr. Talab, if possible, that document from FAO for the criteria of forgotten food, if it's available or you can access to it, please may you share it with us, because I think it is also important document that we may look how. Thank you.
Okay, no problem, Dr. Ali. I will share the document with you.
Okay, thank you.
With everybody.
Oh, all right, I will send it to Dr. Rida. I think
then
can
you
share
will
it.
forward. Yes, okay.
Dr. Adil, I think Dr. Khalid, he has some material to share on the screen. Dr. Khalid.
Yeah, Dr. Khalid, yes, regarding the questionnaire. Yeah, we come to the second part of agenda 2. The questionnaire, Dr. Khalid.
Not the questionnaire. I didn't do a questionnaire. It's not a questionnaire. It's almost the same as Dr. Ali did, but I did it on a Word file, and I included some actions and included some profiles of some plant species.
Okay. Good. Then we have to think about the questionnaire. You see, as we mentioned in our previous meeting, we have to prepare also some.
Just a moment.
Data. Yeah, maybe for next. So that's okay. You can present. You see what you prepared. Yes,
yes, of course. I think I am sharing. Am I sharing or not?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. I will struggle doing that. I think.
Dr. Khalid, can you open it first and then you share?
I opened.
You go to share.
Okay. It's difficult to go to share. Okay.
Share screen, the one at the bottom in green. Yeah.
Yes. Now it is shared?
Yeah, no. It starts, now.
Yes.
Is it shared?
Yes.
Not from the beginning.
Yes, it's okay. It's okay now.
Okay, I'll scroll it down. I'm not really good at this.
كلنا مش هيك ومتعلم يا خالد.
والله مش عارف أنا هلا غطت
الشاشة.
لا لحظة. خلاص. Okay. I am okay. Now it is from the beginning. صح؟
Okay.
Yeah.
So I did like an introduction and rationale for the work as usual, and I enlisted the importance of our area and how it was the cradle of cultivation and the remains and fossils of using the wild species, and how is the Mediterranean diet is well known all over the world, and its importance from a nutritional point of view and sustainability point of view. Then on the other hand, I mentioned about the traditional knowledge and the crucial need to document it, and therefore urgently need to preserve this cultural knowledge and its components, physical components, which are the species that it narrates the story about. And to protect and revitalize the traditional cultivation and adoption of such species for the good of humanity and to contribute in food security. Now, as actions that I proposed that in my opinion fits our area, to carry out inventory, as we all the time mention, the inventory in case of wild species, it's easy to reach, as I always say, because we just dig in the literature and find the priority species. Also, we can support this with the information from the local communities as well when we develop the questionnaire. But at the time being, we can consult always the literature, which is really rich in the information about the used species. Also, I shouldn't forget to mention that we also can go from the end of the value chain and not necessarily from the start. So we might not be going through the cultivation of certain species or the use, but go from the end of the value chain, like the end product. For example, as has been mentioned by Dr. Sausan, the barley used to be a commodity for human consumption, and now it's only for animal consumption. So this is forgotten. It is really there and cultivated, but forgotten as food for humankind. So this is this has to be distinguished between on the species level. So the species could not be forgotten as for certain purpose, but forgotten for another purpose. And this is forgotten as well. Also raising awareness that should go side by side with all of our efforts on different levels in a sound way, that it's in conservation and sustainable utilization, but at the same time doesn't trigger over exploitation, especially regarding the wild species, because as I said before, we have to be very careful in promoting the use and the nutritional profile of wild species, because this could trigger the public to harvest them more and more from the wild, and we end up with losing those species from the wild. Strengthening the policies and legal frameworks toward in situ conservation, including efforts made in protected areas, and improve the management of the biological resources for sustainable use. Many of those actually wild edible species are found in the protected areas, and there is no certain programs to manage them and to monitor them. And this need to be triggered. Also finding a solution for the governance of those species occurring in the disturbed habitats outside of the protected areas, which lack any kind of governance to take care of them and manage their conservation status. Strengthening the legal framework towards ex situ conservation and utilization by enhancing the ex situ conservation facilities through capacity building. Here I'm talking about the approaches and procedures that leads to the conservation of such species. Sustainable use of the components of biological diversity. This is by vitalizing and putting into effect the provisions of the different conventions that we ratify and we should be working in their soul. Strengthening research and training, which will help always in building the knowledge and help the awareness and make it scientifically sound. Upskilling, the local communities in cultivation, marketing, and product development techniques, and scoping the value chains, and set up to connect produce and products to the end users or sellers. And ultimately, as a result, reducing the poverty and giving a chance for diversification of the products of the local communities. Now, here I'm listing, those are only examples. I didn't do the profiles for all species, but I'm giving this as an example to maybe to follow, to adopt. After listing the tables, we could elaborate in certain species and give them more weight because of their importance as per the vision of the nationals or the local communities, and elaborate about their prevalence and their status and how are those being used, etc. And here I'm giving some examples. For example, the leader species in Jordan, as considered all edible species, is the Gondelia tournefortii from the Asteraceae family. And I'm here even showing you a very delicious cuisine that is prepared from the Gondelia, that you see it very prickly, but in fact, they harvest it in the very early stages of development, and they prepare such a nice stew with lamb meat. Now also I'm considering the cyclamen persicum also is a very important delicacy in the Jordanians' tables. Here, afterward, I enlisted some of the species. I didn't prioritize honestly, but all of the species that I enlisted here, they are really used. I avoided on adding to the list species that are used on very occasional basis. I could use them at the end of the day, but this was my vision, just to prioritize from the very beginning and put species that are really used. And we could maybe start with this, then we prioritize more and more. After finishing this, I would like to tell you that I'm still working on the crop part. Those are all species harvested from the wild, although some of them are really now cultivated on a very limited basis. But the species that are really considered crops and used to be planted in our area, I'm trying to dig from the literature and consult others to reach a compromise and reach a list of what used to be crops. For example, I can mention some crops in the Fertile Crescent that used to be used, like, for example, the sorghum bicolor, which is they used to call it the white corn. And this is very famous in Jordan, Palestine, Syria, and Lebanon, as used to be used for preparing bread. Also, barley used to be used for preparing bread. There used to be plantations of flax in the very past in our area. There used to be plantations of pearl millet as well. Those species that I so far reached to, and I'm still compiling another list for the crop species that are absent from the floor now and neglected on the level of our region. This is what I wanted to brief you about. Thank you very much for giving me the floor.
Thank you, Dr. Khalid. Dr. Sousan, grazing.
Thank you so much, Dr. Khalid, for this information and for the provided file. What I just noticed that none of the spreadsheet from Oman or from your side included some trees. Okay, some trees used to have very nutritional values, like I don't know exactly the names in English. Kharroub, for example, button. I would really like to include cactus also.
I think they are mentioned.
Forget it.
Sorry,
It is my,
sorry.
you know, it is my.
They are mentioned.
Yeah. So this kind of trees, they used to have nutritional values, and they used to be part of the nutrition diet for the people in the previous time, because they used to use it either for the bread or to prepare their dishes. So please, it will be good to include them in order to figure out some uses of these trees.
Excuse me, Dr. Sousan. They are mentioned. Ceratonia siliqua is mentioned already.
Okay, so but there is another. Sorry, I did not know that.
Let me just brief you, please. I'm mentioning Ceratonia siliqua. I'm mentioning Pistachia atlantica, Pistachia lentiscus, and Pistachia palestina could be shrubs, but they are more or less trees and woody species. Ras coriaria is woody species, or is shrub, but more or less woody species. Arbutus and Rachne is a very famous component of the Jordanian Mediterranean forest, and I'm mentioning this. I am with you. I didn't mention, for example, Pyrus syriaca. That could be mentioned. And also I could have also mentioned Strateg as a role list, but maybe I will mention this in the future. But I didn't mention them because honestly they are not heavily used, but they could be added simply. Thank you very much for your addition.
Thanks.
Okay, before I give the floor to Dr. Ayouni, as I said, you see, this is we would like to gather as much as we can information about the forgotten food. You see, for example, forgotten food that maybe is used as the occasional basis on one country, maybe used as a regular basis or semi-regular basis in other countries. So at this stage, we want every information. You see that you can't categorize them. You see, you put there these are priority. First priority. This is second. This said this. Yeah, but we would like to list the list to include all. You see, then you can have your priority. No problem. You see, to indicate these are heavily cultivated or these are you can indicate that. You see. Okay, Dr. Ayouni.
Thank you very much. I'd like really to thank Khalid very much because he take us a step forward to the action plan, during mentioning these actions. But I have really small two comments. First of all, I think in order to give more importance for traditional knowledge, maybe Khalid can phrase one of the actions. I know it is embedded in many of the actions that he mentioned, like in the public awareness and in the in situ and ex situ conservation. But I think for it is importance in the future, especially when we want to work on income generating projects. I think we have to put a statement as action for documenting indigenous knowledge very clearly. This is the first one. The second one, I think in talking about upscaling the community skills, I think we have to talk about empowerment, which is including upscaling and others, because we are talking about legally issues, laws and legislation. We are talking about public awareness, which is awareness of things, and we are talking about income generating. So I think empowering local communities is more inclusive than upscaling, because upscaling usually, if I want to send a concept note to any of the development agencies talking about scaling, he said this is a training, only training per se. But when we are talking about empowering, it including knowledge sharing, it including legal issues, it including socio-economic things. So I prefer to use empowering instead of upscaling. Khalid, thank you very much. Thank you, Khalid. Really, it is.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome.
Okay. So if there is no other question or comment, I would like to remind all that we are doing a good job, you see, regarding the community of practice, composition, structure. We are doing good. Dr. Ali.
Yeah, I do have a question regarding the deliverable from us. I mean, from us as a group to the IFAD or to the funding organization. About the concept note, is there any what they call it style we should have? Because this also, I think we should keep it in our mind while we are preparing our list and our things like that. Is there any style they are looking for, or any general style? Thank you.
Yeah, you are right. Yeah. There are more or less There is a Jerry style, but with a few differences. For example, for IFAD, for FAO, you see. Yeah, we can talk about that. You see, this is a good see, point we see to mention now. You see, because you see one of our major targets regarding the development partner are IFAD and FAO. In the meantime, you see, maybe also the European Union, but this is a little bit complicated. So yeah, you're right. We can share that in our next meeting. You see, maybe the format of the concept notes. You see. So we can it will help us see in preparing this the regional report or the regional inventory. See, it helps very much when we come to that stage. So I think Dr. Ayouni.
Yeah, just small comment. I think for Ali mentioning this question, I think IFAD is concentrating on farmer empowerment or local community empowerment, and knowledge sharing and these things. So if we want to think of something to be sent to IFAD, we have to think in that part, which is including income generating, including awareness, as Khalid mentioned, including knowledge sharing and these things. So this is what the usually interest of IFAD. They are concentrating on extension, advisory services, knowledge, and so on.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Rida?
Yes, Dr. Adel. I mean, for the work, we will be waiting from Dr. Ali and Dr. Khalid to give us an Excel sheet with the data entries that are needed, so we can share this Excel sheet for the inventory. I'm saying we can share it with our different members in the technical committee. And also we will look for focal persons in every country in order to start collecting the data for the inventory. And we will be in contact with every one of you in order to get the help if in case we are facing difficulty to get data from one place or another place, because that's going to be the way now for collecting this information. So we will not send anything to people unless we get from you, Dr. Ali and Dr. Khalid, that sheet. Thank you.
Like within 1 week?
That's fine. The earlier, the better.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't put us in the corner, Ali.
No, I'm not putting you.
Yeah. I mean, I think we are there. We are there. No problem.
علي لا تخافش على خالد، حطه بالكورنر وبيجيك طيبه.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Ajlani, for the trust.
Okay, thank you.
كنا بخدمتك يا خالد.
Yeah, as I said,
Doctor.
Yeah, as I said, we are still waiting for some nominations regarding especially the stakeholders. As I said, we will prepare our progress report for maybe this the 2 weeks periods, and be submitted to GFAR, including the so far nominations we received regarding the committed practice, both part the stakeholder and the technical part. Also regarding the progress we did in the entry points also. And even furthermore, the inventory, the standard sheet for the inventory, as we agreed, Dr. Ali and Dr. Abu Leila will jointly prepare an inventory sheet taking into consideration the points which were mentioned in this meeting by many of us, especially those of Dr. Susana, Dr. Halabi, Dr. Ayouni, and Dr. Muhammad Agreba. Yeah, I think Dr. Ali is saying 1 week time is good.
يعني I think
Dr.
so.
Abu Layla is a little bit.
Today is 13. يعني 13. We have 23rd. Like what? Like 23rd. 23rd.
Okay. 10 days. Okay, 10 days.
Yes, 10 days.
Yeah, 10 days. Also, we have another task that is for the questionnaire. I don't know, Dr. Abu Layla is a little setting back from preparing a draft for the questionnaire. I don't know. You can ask other somebody, Dr. Sosan. Can you help us in preparing a questionnaire for collecting this indigenous knowledge about forgotten food from the local communities?
I can help, but I will not be in charge. Okay.
Yeah,
yeah, I can help if you assign someone, so we can work together.
Okay, then Dr. Khalid, Dr. Sosan can work with you. It's okay.
Okay.
Dr.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Then also the same time. After 10 days, we can, if you have at least first draft for the questionnaire in 10-week time, maybe.
Is it okay with you, Dr. Khalid? Because now
yes,
you have lines.
Yes.
Not only
yes,
one.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
Good. You see, coming back to the point of the development partners or the donors, you see they will be part of our discussion regarding the development of the global plan of action for forgotten food. You see, at that time we will know also more about their interests. You see, the development partners like IFAD, like FAO, the European community. You see, and maybe individual countries like Germany. You see, so they are all interested on this topic. You see, they're all interested. But in the meantime, IFAD did also funded many projects on forgotten food, IFAD especially. Many on cultivated, semi-domesticated and wild, even wild, you see. So IFAD is one of, maybe we can think also on Jeff, one of the
maybe on the global level you can ask Jeff to develop a project for the EC, you know, which will include all the regional parts like, you know, frameworks and these things, and, you know, the training and capacity building. It can be prepared by Jeff and the regional fora, and apply to the EU, because the EU is one of the main partners for Jeff, by the way, for GFAR. So you can talk to them about that. دكتور عادل. دكتور عادل.
يبدو انقطع عن
يبدو انقطع عنده خليه يسرع تعاون.
I think he's disconnected. Yes.
عادل.
I think he's disconnected.
الانترنت عندهم مش بعض مرات مش ستيبل. Anyway, send them a letter, Dr. Rida, email.
I think now almost what's in the agenda, we are done with the agenda. So hopefully Dr. Adil will be back with us. Just
okay.
Dr. Adil still is there.
Okay, yellow.
Okay, anyway, I think now it's clear for everybody what we are going to do, but I will arrange with Dr. Adil if he's going to have another meeting in 2 weeks. I think we need another meeting in 2 weeks to follow up on the discussions and follow up on the other things which we have been talking on. So in 2 weeks, I think we will arrange for another meeting. Dr. Adil is not back with us. Okay, if he has any new thing to say, we can send it on the email to everybody. But I think we are done with what's on the agenda for today. Does anybody have something to say? Okay. I think he's not back. Okay, well, I will be waiting for him, but I will inform him that because people are a little bit, we have been over an hour so far in this discussion, and I think everything we discussed is now clear. So for the ones who want to leave, I think we are done with everything, unless otherwise there is something to say. Sure.
اوكي بنشوفكم على خير ان شاء الله. السلام عليكم.
شكرا جزيلا للكل جميعا. السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام.
باي باي.
شكرا.
باي باي.
Bye everyone. Thank you.
السلام عليكم.
باي everybody.
Goodbye everybody.
خلي الكونكشن مفتوح اذا رجع الدكتور عادل بحكي معه.
اوكي ماشي دكتور.
اوكي. على حال اذا الدكتور عادل رجع بس نبلغه انه احنا رتبنا، اذا ما رجع بتودي له على الايميل وبنودي له على الواتساب انه احنا الاجتماع خلاص ورتبنا ان نعمل اجتماع بعد اسبوعين. اوكي
اوكي دكتور.
على حال ودي له مسج انت الان على الواتساب انه احنا خلاص الاجتماع، وانه ايوه انه احنا بعد اسبوعين راح نعمل اجتماع وانتهى الاجتماع.
اوكي دكتور ان شاء الله.
على بركه الله. تقدر تنهي الاجتماع خلاص لانه ما في حاجه، ما ظل الا احنا.
اوكي ماشي دكتور.
الله يسعدك. او تخليه فاتح شويه اذا في ما اذا رجع.
تمام دكتور ان شاء الله.
خليه 5